Welcome back to Leeds Lately. Leeds have just crashed out of the Carabao Cup against Middlesbrough 3-0, as you can see all around me with the live watch-along border. Before we get into it, make sure you do go ahead and hit that big red button down below, as it really, really helps me out. But as I said, Leeds have just crashed out of the Carabao Cup against Middlesbrough. And whilst, that's not a massive issue that we've gone out of the cup, the fashion in which we did it is worrying. Now, a lot of this is defensive frailty, players in the wrong positions at the wrong times defensively, and it's really worrying because Rodon's part of that. Rodon's part of the first team, Firpo's part of the first team. Two of our back four were in the first team at the weekend, and now have been in this game where the back four look horrendous defending. Some of that defending was so bad. And do you know what? I'm calling it now. When I talked about Jesse Marsch's tactics, right, and I talked about how a lot of the time he had his rest defence. Now, if you don't know what rest defence is, it's basically how do you look on the halfway line or further up or deeper with your defenders, people who are sat back basically. How do you look? How do you set up in case you're counter-attacked? So what Farke used to do, or last season certainly would do, would be to have, let's say, Rodon and Struijk, right? They're in the centre circle as two defenders. Then ahead of them, you've got Ampadu and Gruev, so they essentially make a four-man box. So in the centre circle, you've got Rodon and Struijk as your two centre-backs as the furthest back. In front of them, almost directly in line with them, you've got Gruev and Ampadu, who the ball will come back to, and then they'll try to play through the lines and try to dictate the attacking play. But behind them, you've got that little bit of cover. So you've got four of them, basically, who can, essentially, if they need to, split and become a quick back four if the fullbacks are high and wide. So your rest defence is, how do you look at the back when you're attacking? Last season, we had that four-man thing. But tonight, we had two players back. A lot of the time when we were attacking, we had two players back. We knew that from the first, 5-10 minutes, we knew that Middlesbrough would be trying to hit us on the break. And we're leaving ourselves so exposed at the back by having two centre-backs. And there was moments where you go, where is our defence? And we've got no one. And it looked like when we were getting exploited by Jesse Marsch's tactics, when the opposition were exploiting us so badly for only having two players back, and trying to go 1v1 and man for man in that defending, you get exploited so badly. There was a moment where Struijk actually had come on later in the game, and Struijk and Rodon had both gone to left back to try and stop a winger, right? So they're both in the exact same place at left back, and in the middle of the defence, absolutely no one. Ampadu had to try and run across and make a tackle. It was so bad. The defence was at 6s and 7s. We really didn't look like we knew what we were doing defensively, structurally. We really, really looked poor. You saw their goals. Deke Steele was able to cut inside off the right-hand side in towards the middle, and nobody got close to him. There was no ambition, no sort of drive for Rodon to come forward and to try and block his shot or to force him away. He was just kind of like looking at him like this, kind of like shielding a little bit, not really doing anything. Then Verba just kind of like flew in and it went through his legs, and it honestly, it was woeful. Verba, I think, now we've seen a season of him under Jesse Marsch, and we've seen a couple of games in pre-season and a game in the Carabao Cup. I think it's enough, right, for me to say he thinks that he's a Champions League player or a top-level Bundesliga player. I don't think he's very good. He could prove me wrong, and honestly, I hope he does. I hope he stays the season, and I hope he really proves me wrong and has a good season. But I don't think Verba's very good positionally. I think he's not sure whether he's a centre-back or a left-back, or someone at the club isn't, because defensively as a centre-back, he's all over the place. I think, look, Firpo, you always know that he's not exactly a perfect defender, and he's basically playing as a midfielder. You had a lot of the time, Ampadu was dropping in at left back so that Firpo could stay high and wide. I just think that defensively, Verba wasn't very good. Rodon had a stinker. Rodon had a really, really bad game. And I also don't think he was great against Portsmouth as well. I think he made some mistakes in that game, and I'm kind of a little bit worried about that. The other thing I thought from this game is, like, did we... It doesn't really matter now because it's done, but I think we might have slightly overpaid for Rodon. It doesn't really matter, but I don't think he's necessarily worth £10 million. I think he's the sort of player who's kind of halfway between being a top-end Championship player and halfway between being a bottom-end Premier League player, but I don't think he's anything that special. He's not going to be, is he, if he's at Leeds in the Championship, but... Yeah, it was a worrying performance. Like the positive to take is that wasn't our first team, but even when Daniel Farke brought on 5 substitutes, it was like, is it a bit too little, too late? Are these players going to really make an impact? It didn't really. Jorginho looked like the most positive one, like he was going to go and do something. But on paper, when you look at our second string team, you go, yeah, decent, bit of depth. Good few young players in there. But when they actually played against Middlesbrough, we were taken apart, really. We really were. Don't get me wrong. In the early stages of the game, if we're putting a little bit of a positive spin on things, I think Leeds created quite a few chances and had a few chances on goal, saved, blocked, whatever you like. But I think our downfall against Portsmouth and our downfall against Middlesbrough now as well, conceded 6 goals in 2 games. Defensively, we look really, really shaky at the moment. We look really shaky. I don't know what it is. I don't know why we're like this. I mean, if you want a little bit more detail in terms of us looking at actually tactically positioning and stuff with the actual footage, me, Lockie, and Alex from American and Leeds podcast, on American and Leeds podcast, go and check it out from yesterday. It'll be probably by the time you're watching it. It was Wednesday morning anyway. Go and check that out, because we were looking at the Leeds defending against Portsmouth, and we were saying how positionally a lot of the players are in the wrong position, they're in the wrong areas, and they just look worryingly unstructurally sound, if you get what I mean. Yeah, it's worrying me. And as well, we look like we struggled in the midfield today. We really did look like we struggled in the midfield. Those of you who were watching the live stream, I finally remembered what the word for the extra centre-back that drops in is called. An auxiliary centre-back. That is what I was talking about. So Ampadu was dropping in as an auxiliary centre-back in between Rodon and Strauch. Okay, that's fine. It gives you a bit of a base to build from. What that allows for is Rodon to go wider, almost into a right-back position, Strauch to go almost into a left-back position, or Verba to go almost into a left-back position. It allows then Byram and Firpo to get high and wide, and it allows basically Leeds to have a little bit more attacking impetus with how many players we've got forward. The issues it causes is that because Ampadu is back in that defence, once he's played his pass, he's not getting back into midfield quickly enough, because he's allowing Rothwell then to be overwhelmed by opposition. Rothwell is kind of on his own in there going, how am I meant to make anything happen if I'm on my own and completely isolated in that midfield role? So for me, Ampadu, that's fine. That's a tactic. You can drop into the defence, be an auxiliary centre-back, be that extra guy to receive a pass, to play a pass, somebody who can look up and play passes forward, left and right. But if you're going to do that, you have to also help your midfielder out, because the way Leeds are playing, you've got 2 midfielders, 2 traditional midfielders in the sense that one's a holder and one's an 8, etc., not number 10s, not attacking midfielders. So you've only got 2 of you who are actually sitting in there and being the ones to play the ball. If you reduce that down to 1, he's got no chance, and the midfield of the opposition are going to play around him. The other thing is, we didn't press well. When we tried to press, I saw Bamford go and press the goalkeeper. Nobody else in the lineup was going with him. We talked about this in the American and Leeds podcast as well. It's either all of you or none of you. You cannot have one player go and press, because I've done it before at amateur football. And obviously, because we're amateurs, one of you go and press, and everyone's like, "Oh no, I haven't gone," or whatever. You can make mistakes like that because it's a kickabout. Professional football, if one of you goes like that, goes towards the ball, you don't know that your teammates haven't come with you, and the goalkeeper can just play it around you, and they can just play it around you in nice little easy passing triangles, and you've basically wasted a lot of energy. If you're going to do it, you have to go together. It's like everybody was playing with each other for the first time. People going into each other's positions, going the wrong way. It's like, whoa, just hold on a second. We are looking so poor. It was awful. It was awful. People calling for Farke's head. We're 2 games into the season, one of them being a Carabao Cup game. Chill out. It's fine. He's got 90 points in every season. I'm sick of saying this. He's got 90 plus points in every full season he's had as a Championship manager. Leeds will go on to have a good season. These are the things that managers get their money for, fixing these problems. And hopefully we see them fixed. There's a video out tomorrow at time of recording, probably today when you're watching this, about another potential winger. I think we need some signings. I think we need a winger who can play potentially on both sides and maybe in the number 10 as well. I think we potentially need another midfielder to help out Rothwell, Ampadu and Gruev. And I think now I'm looking at it, I would like another centre-back because I'm not quite happy with what we've got there. But having said that, it's only the Carabao Cup. Don't worry about too much. Don't lose sleep. But that's my thoughts on it. It was a bit negative because it was an awful game and we were terrible. Never mind, eh? Back to the Championship. Thanks for watching Leeds Lately. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And I'll see you next time on Leeds Lately.